By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot how Facebook uses neuromarketing to influence buyer decisions and how you can use it inside of your business. I've been doing marketing for 10 years, and we've helped businesses scale from 0 to over 8 figures using these neuromarketing tools and tactics that you're going to learn. We heard what recently happened with censorship in Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg. So I'm going to show you how Facebook changes your mind every day. And I'm going to show you how they do it using neuromarketing. All right. Let's hop into Facebook. I'm actually going to screen share some of my stuff, so let's pop into this. We're going to blur out some personal information in here, but just looking at the layout of Meta, right? And I know I use the dark version. Some people are haters. Other people love dark mode. I love dark mode. You can hate all you want. Actually, you know what? Drop me inside of the comments down below. Are you a dark mode person, or do you leave it bright white and just blare your eyes out the whole time? So, inside of Meta, what are some things that they do that are neuromarketing techniques to keep you on the page longer and to get you to engage more? And there's a long history, and we've actually covered this inside of one of the previous Neuro Insiders. If you're not subscribed to that, go down. It's in the links. You can subscribe there really fast. But one of the things that they do is they follow what's called a capital F formation inside of their website design. What do I mean by capital F formation? So you can design websites in a million different ways, but what studies have shown is that there's a Z formation going top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right that form a Z for us that actually converts really well for keeping people's traffic and keeping the attention on the site. The other method that people use is a capital F, meaning that we have our long feed on the left, and then it will shoot over to the top left. They'll come back down to the middle of the page and form this line right here. And we'll actually edit this in post for you. You can see the line, the next line coming up here to the right, and then the middle to form this capital F right here. You can actually kind of see it with the grays being the same color. This is all intentional. It's harder to see a little bit on the white or the light mode of Meta. But when you're in here, you can see it. The other thing that they do is they know how to control the fold. So this is an old newspaper term, which is keeping things above the fold, which is where the newspaper would actually fold on the back side of itself. So that way it's prompting you to want to read and engage with the other side of the newspaper and get it to open up. They were doing a lot of, independent research when newspapers were out of what gets people to read more of it. And they found that if you cut off part of the information, people want to know more. So they're going to hold and interact with the newspaper longer. And therefore, the newspaper stands could actually sell more papers to those individuals. So you'll even notice this with some of the ads that they do. And what loads first is that they don't show you the full first box or what's been posted. They make you need to scroll. And what does that do? It starts the scrolling fingers, whether you're on desktop or mobile, to start to get you to scroll more and more and more. This is all very intentional. The other thing that it's going to do for you, and I don't have any notifications pulled up now, is that they're very good about resetting notifications for you. Even if it's a notification that came through a few weeks ago that's now prompting back up as a reminder, or something new that you've posted, the goal is to get you to look at your notifications because it's a dopamine reward pathway. Now, dopamine kind of gets a weird stigma inside of pop culture now. People are trying to reduce your dopamine load or cut dopamine out of your social media. And people think of it as a reward pathway. And while dopamine does hit a reward pathway, it's more about the chase or the pursuit of that reward that is giving you the dopamine, not actually just scrolling to give that. And this is exactly what's happening right here when we look at the pursuit of seeing what's actually next on the page. Meta has been very clever in how they've reorganized over the last 4 to 5 years in their user interface to really integrate more of these tactics into their website. A few other things that they do inside of here, and this is actually fairly recent, which is where they're actually starting to lead with TikTok-styled videos up first, because what Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and all these other social media platforms are trying to do is they're now competing against a new content style that TikTok has really nailed down, which is quick short form videos that have a lot of engagement, and not just from how many clicks or likes or comments, but actually how the content is actually constructed. Quick clips hitting in different multimedia styles, different camera angles, lots of color, to get you highly, highly engaged through novelty. It's something new. We don't know what's happening next. And that's what's leading to that anticipation pathway with their content. With The feedback loops that we see inside of here through liking and commenting are how they actually start to elevate your content through the ranking system. So if you're looking to create content inside of Meta specifically, think about what would actually work well on TikTok and how those quick cuts or the different camera angles or the captions over the content are going to get you engaged, get you highly motivated to want to watch the rest, and then put that into Facebook. But the key to this, and Gary Vee talks about this inside of Day Trading Attention, which is his newest book, is that you have to change the context of who's the actual end consumer on Meta compared to who's the end consumer on TikTok, because those audiences are different and the context of the platform is different. So even for this ad, which is a very well done ad, quick clips, high color, high contrast, captions over top of it, they're getting right into the heart of what this audience wants for an ad. And it doesn't actually look like an ad, which is where we're seeing a lot of this creative start to transform into. Modern creative isn't looking like a stagnant image out of Ogilvy and Madison, which is one of the most famous advertising and marketing agencies out there. One of the things that they're actually seeing be really successful now on these platforms is ad creative that looks like standard organic posting. Because with their algorithm updates and how Meta is adapting into really understanding high-level audience, their algorithm can almost run entirely without detailed targeting. And they had to get there because of the iOS 14 update, which kind of eliminated some of that know your customer and being able to harvest a lot of that data interior to their platform. So when we're looking in here as well, what makes up a good post? It's funny, Jason's actually a client of ours with Fairway Automotive. So he doesn't know we're doing this. I didn't know we're even doing this. This is new to us. But let's look through what's actually making this a strong post for them. Most businesses would love if they got, close to 100 engagement, 12 comments, and 4 shares on their post, especially if it's something as mundane as an automotive shop. And Jason and his team actually do a really good job of their social media. So let's pop into some of this. You can notice that the independent photos inside of here really don't get the bulk of the likes, the engagements, the comments, and that's totally okay. Because what they're after is more of the storytelling of what's going on inside of their business at this moment. And it's keeping kind of that live pulse going of what's happening, and it's not just selling. Nowhere in here are they selling an actual offer. They're not putting the offer in here, but just getting this attention is keeping Fairway Automotive top of mind for a lot of their customers and a lot of their followers. See, now it's switching me over into theirs. So let's look at this and see some of their actual business, right? Most businesses would never be able to get 158 engagement, 24 comments, 20 shares into their post. So let's see kind of how Jason did it. We were at this charity event with them out in St. Louis a few weeks ago. So $24,000 raised for Needy Paws Rescue. They're tying their brand to something super powerful and giving that emotional connection through contribution, which is a deep-rooted human need inside of psychology. So they're tying their business to something that contributes back to the community. This was the biggest fundraiser that we have ever had, and will all go towards making sure that these rescues live a very prosperous life. They're thanking the golf course, and then they're getting all the businesses that help sponsor that event a tag inside of here, knowing that these businesses want that content shared as well, because it's goodwill out there in the marketplace for not only Fairway, but it's also good for all the other brands that are supportive inside of there. Then, of course, we get to layer in cute dogs. Animals are a really easy hack into getting more attention and more awareness. Same with babies. There's actually been extensive studies around babies' faces inside of marketing. There's a reason that Gerber uses it. There's a reason that a lot of other brands use babies' faces, because it promotes youth, longevity, refreshment, and all these different characteristics that we want to see out of a brand. We don't want to see stale old brands. They're boring. Nobody likes them. What we want to see is fun, engagement, high-level content, energy inside of there as well. So let's pop into some of the comments. Cute dog face, always going to win, posted by the animal rescue that they were there tagging with and enjoying the content for, and just a ton of claps coming back to the business for doing something wonderful. This is a super good and easy way for somebody to leverage this strategy for their business as well. Even inside of here, you can see the almost same thing, right? Of people taking photos, people having a good time, and all of those photos. One thing, if I had to change this, is I would go back through for all the people that were there and find a way to tag them so that way they had easy access into these photos, because a lot of people out there would love to share this, that they were at this event supporting a good cause, but they probably don't know that their photo is actually up here. Really easy, really quick fix that they could do to integrate and get more engagement on this post. Okay, so we've looked at a business example of being able to kind of leverage Meta to be able to gain brand awareness and do goodwill out in the marketplace. But for those of you that are maybe solopreneurs or you have a personal brand, how are you actually leveraging Meta using some neuromarketing principles and content creation to actually generate leads for your own business? We're going to hop back into my screen here in just a second. But something I want you to notice are the colors and how Bijal is actually creating content that is generating leads for her and generating engagement over and over and over again while speaking well to her primary audience. I know Bijal, she's an amazing human being. If you need any type of branding help, make sure you actually go check out Bijal's content. One, you'll always get a good laugh, and two, you'll feel right at home because she is a wizard at what she does. So let's hop back into this. So Bijal is actually hosting a 2-day event in September. We go to her page, we go to see her followers and who's following who, and we actually see right here on her hero banner image that she's got an event coming up. Super easy way, very passive. She's not having to do a hard sell because anytime you're interacting with Bijal or want to see what she's posting, it's right here. And I want you to notice something very specific that she did inside of this. Her brand colors between her profile photo and what are coming back are both purple and dark colors. So purple is the color of royalty. It's also the color of high-level influence. You'll see a lot of books use purple. You'll see a lot of brands use purple, and it's because it's a higher vibrational color inside of the color spectrum. So while she could have leaned into a hard black, she didn't. She used a full spectrum of purple and yellow, which are two complementary colors on the color wheel, very highly branded. And even inside of the co-host of this, which is Taylor Welch, a personal mentor of mine, you'll notice it's very uniform across how she's done this. One of the things that drives me absolutely insane, as a quick side note, is seeing all those big conferences where people have photos from 30 different speakers, right? And you're hoping to leverage the influence of all of those, but the photo looks awful. There's no branding, there's no consistency. It just looks cheap and very poorly done. That was a quick side note. I'm sure you guys noticed this too. But let's get into Bijal's content about how she actually leverages some neuromarketing principles around connecting with her audience and turning those into call to actions so people can actually get high-level returns from posting on social. So let's scroll through here. Okay. So with Bijal owning a branding agency, most people think of branding as just logos, color spectrums, and figuring out what your brand message is, right? She's done a phenomenal job of transitioning this into an emotional experience. Facts tell, but stories sell. And Bijal is a master at telling 1 or 2 sentence stories inside of her posts. They're highly engaging. They take up a big chunk of the screen because Meta allows you to turn those 1 or 2 sentences into full image size posts, which she's done a great job of. My magical moments are when someone finds exactly how to describe what they offer in a powerful and succinct way. So what does a branding agency do? Exactly this, but it's not saying, hey, come to my branding agency and download this PDF and we'll get started. She's showing you the final outcome and what's a neuromarketing principle and a strong marketing principle in general called future pacing. Nobody wants to know all the hard work or all the steps that have to go into each individual thing. They just want the final outcome. And if you can show people the final outcome of what they get, then they're more likely to buy because they can resonate and say, I want that. Instead of, I want to go through her 4-hour thing of how to actually get here. That part of it doesn't matter as much. That's internal to the business and should never really be customer focused. If this was Fairway, going back to our previous example, your customer doesn't want to know how many times they turned a wrench or what the exact pressure on each nut or bolt has to be to make sure that the engine fires perfectly. They want to know that their car is going to run and be there for the next 40, 50,000 miles without any issues. Bijal does a phenomenal job inside of this post, and while it may not have the most amount of interactions in it, this post, I guarantee you, will generate her traffic and attention and customers coming back to her site. She also does a great job of bringing in her lifestyle through this as well. Once again, she's using the colors of complementary, which is native for Facebook inside of here. Let's go through this post real fast. It takes an incredibly strong and giving person to hold space for someone else as they grow. We've done this many, many times over. As you're starting to get in here inside of the comments, you'll notice that she is still commenting even after she's posted it, because she's expanding on the hook of her story to be able to go into those posts more and layer in more details. And she's able to really get into the heart of what her customers are wanting her to do for them. And this is, if you scroll through her page, I highly recommend that you go through and follow Bijal. But she's really good at creating these hooks that are then pulling you into additional posts inside of that to be able to leverage that attention into generating more customers. I guarantee you that everybody inside of her friends list knows exactly what Bijal does and how she does it. And the reason is that, one, she's consistent. Two, all of her messages tie back to either personal or branding life, and she's able to turn that into a successful business through organic content. So if you're struggling, go reach out to Bijal for this specific thing, because one, she's a wizard, and two, you're going to learn a lot about being able to position your brand voice and leverage that into generating customers as well. All right, so we just went over all the pros around Meta, right? But like everything good in life, there's always some cons that come along with it too. And one of the biggest cons that we're seeing unfold right in front of our eyes, which we've all known is their dirty little secret, is that Meta is known for censoring people. And that's kind of a bad reputation that Mark Zuckerberg is trying to fix right now. There's a huge story going on around the 2020 elections and what the Biden administration was trying to pressure around COVID-19 and how all that played out. Well, I'm not going to get into all the exact details of that. There's a ton of articles out there for you to go and consume that data. What I want to go over is what Meta can actually do in that negative for your brand. So back in 2020, we actually had a Facebook group called Neuromarketing Blueprint that had over 20,000 subscribers into that group. It was a great lead generation tool for us. We were building a strong community. And during that time, we had one previous client, and it only takes one, that made false claims about our business and actually shut down the group because they submitted sexual abuse reports into Meta that were totally false and caused a lot of damage. And during that time, what we learned is so imperative not to build your business on a single stilt. So just like a house on a beach, if you built it on one single stilt and a big wave comes over, what you're going to see is that the house is going to crumble. And that was a hard learning lesson for us. And I don't want that to happen to you as well. Ultimately, because Meta is a free platform, except for paying to play for ads, you actually are kind of at their mercy for a lot of this. So looking at how we're building marketing strategies, if your business strategy right now for marketing and lead generation and customer acquisition is entirely built on one platform, and if you have a big following, all it can take is one client to ripple that entire house that you've built down. So when we're looking at building and diversifying, making sure that you're not limited to just one platform for your customer acquisition, your lead generation is extremely important. So looking at platforms like Circle is a good option. Alex Hormozy has come out with School, which is another good option for you to look at as well. Being independent of one singular platform for your audience, while it does add additional work onto your plate for community development, it actually allows you to kind of free yourself from the potential censorship that happens when you have a big platform like Meta. Now, they've promoted that they're a free speech platform, not to the extent that Twitter/X is, but we're starting to see this trend inside of social right now of freedom of speech from these private companies. Meta is a private company that can do whatever they want. They're not a government organization. So the fact that we're seeing these big people start to take a stand for First Amendment rights and making amends, I think is a big push towards this freedom. Now, there's still certain neuromarketing techniques and certain copy techniques and certain marketing strategies that kind of give away when censorship is happening. And that can happen through headline articles and how we're doing those. And I'm actually going to produce a full list of those for you guys to read and recommend a book for you as well. It's called Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. It's $20 on Amazon. Go grab it. It'll save you a ton of time. But one of the last chapters in there breaks down all the headline examples that you'll see these media manipulation and censorship tools be used by. And it's things like exclusive or fresh off the press, or we got a source from so-and-so that said XYZ. And he breaks down in each individual section how that censorship is actually happening and what that actually means is going on behind the scenes. We're not going to get into all of it. There's like 50 examples inside of there that you guys should definitely go read and consume if you're more interested in how these big tech platforms are actually censoring and how you can start to avoid it or even jump in on some of those loopholes if you are more of a content producing company that needs to get around some of these tricky rules and regulations. Guys, thanks for watching the video. I actually have a video that we're going to tag and put the card right up here for. If you're still confused about what neuromarketing is and how to use it and what actually constitutes neuromarketing, we did a really cool video a few weeks ago talking about the 3 pillars of neuromarketing and how to introduce them into your business. Make sure you go and watch that video. We go super in depth into the people, product, and process side of neuromarketing so you can start implementing some of those strategies into your business today. Thanks, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.